This channel teaches you a lot about yard water problems. We try to cover everything. Flooded yards, areas that are just soft and spongy where you need a French drain. But what if you need both? What if you need a yard drain that has a solid pipe with catch basins to take care of surface water, but you also need a perforated pipe surrounded by stone so you can take care of all the subsurface water? As a DIYer, what is the most realistic way of installing these two systems in the same trench? We put together two of the most comprehensive videos on this topic. We merged them together. If you watched these two videos in their entirety, you will find an easy way to take care of your flooded yard problems. It meant a lot to me personally to come up with a system that was an easy DIY. I spent 3 years developing this and bringing all the parts to market. I hope all of you DIYers enjoy the two videos that we put together for you. DIY means something you do yourself and something that saves you thousands and thousands of dollars.
This is a video that has been years in the making, 3 years to be exact. I had a bunch of DIYers in my comments saying, hey, you guys have all this equipment. We don't know how to run an excavator, a mini skid loader, we don't have a dump truck. This ain't gonna work for us. So unfortunately, they were following the blueprint of an easy DIY on some other channels, and they would fail after 2 years. I vowed at that time, 3 years ago, that I was gonna make all the components for an easy DIY, something that a homeowner can do, that you didn't need an excavator, you didn't need a mini skid loader. I'm gonna show you how to build a yard drain, French drain combination. We took out all the failure modes. This is gonna last a lifetime. Back at the office house, this is a property that I own, so when I show you this, this is how we're doing this job here. I'm putting in a really inexpensive system. It's an easy DIY. You can put this system in with a trencher. This is a 48-inch trencher. So this is a trencher that you can rent. Anybody can run it. Skill level 2. Do it when it's dry. Don't do it when it's wet. Do it when it's dry. You can see how this dirt's all powdered. It's going to shovel super easy. If it's wet, it's going to be muddy and it's just going to make a mess. But a trencher makes the dirt light and fluffy. Clean the bottom of your trench out with a trench shovel. This is 5 inches wide. It fits in a trench made by a trencher. That's a 6-inch trencher. We probably got a true 7 inches here. So you just literally clean it out. Don't even worry about slope. This is easy DIY. You're going to mess around and get the bottom nice and level with pea stone. We'll show you that. And it's probably the least expensive because there's less dirt haul out and there's less stone haul in. This is a project for my own property, and this is going to be more than enough. This area stays wet. This tree is dead. This tree is dead. This tree, this tree. These trees all have died because of the water that lays in here and how wet this is. You're not going to hire in a company to come in and put in, $15,000 worth of drainage. It's just not in the budget. This is easy. But armed with a shovel only and a rental trencher, you can put in this system.
For perfect trenches that are 7 inches wide, you can carve out a little area where you need to for a catch basin sump like we did right here. Such an easy DIY. I'm so happy to finally have all the components for an easy DIY, a truly easy DIY. The light, fluffy dirt can either be repurposed or hauled away.
Easy DIY, just to show you. So that fits in a trench made by a trencher. This catch basin is a part of our trencher series. When we made our catch basins, both our single line and our double line, we only made it to where they were 5 inches wide and they fit in a trench made by a trencher. Super easy DIY, less dirt to haul out or move or relocate on the property, less stone to bring in. And it doesn't take a whole lot of skill to run this trencher.
Once you have trenched in all your lines and you repurposed that light, easy to handle dirt that is a byproduct of using a trencher, you just go ahead and line your trench with a non-woven geotextile filter fabric. Use a rubber mallet when you're pounding in those fabric pins. They go in really easy. A trencher does make a perfect trench. Now this next step for this easy DIY is to use pea stone to level out the bottom of your trench. Not only is it going to make it easy for you to level out the bottom of your trench, but because this is a very narrow trench and it's not a wide trench, the sediment that ends up in the bottom of a French drain, it's not going to have the area of a wide trench to spread in. So it will accumulate and end up in the bottom of the pipe in a very narrow trench. So you want to have that stone underneath your pipe. That way the sediment will accumulate in the voids of the stone under the pipe and not inside your pipe. A couple inches of pea stone is all you need. 2 or 3 inches of pea stone will do the job. Again, you don't have the area to displace sediment. It's a narrow trench. So you want to have something to catch all that sediment so it doesn't lay in your pipe. Remember, everywhere there's going to be a catch basin, you have to dig out a little sump area before you put your fabric in. Perfect trench. Absolutely perfect. Easy DIY. Everywhere you collect water in your yard, everywhere you have a puddle, you want to put a catch basin. The two most popular trenchers are either a 36-inch or a 48-inch. Basically, they both trench 7 inches wide, but it's how long the bar is. And depending on how deep you're going to end up, whether you need the 48-inch or the 36. If you have a catch basin right at the very beginning of your line, it'll have 2 end caps on it to start it off. If it's in the middle of the line, it'll have female couplers on both sides. Once you have all your inline catch basins in place and you have leveled out the bottom of your trench, you can start putting in the pipe. It's already time to put in the first pipe, the lower level pipe. The reason why we built a system that has a pipe stacked on top of a pipe is because all those trenched in systems that only have one pipe, the yard is still squishy and soft and spongy and muddy, and people complain about it all the time. Well, one pipe, I mean, look how shallow the system is. You go a little bit deeper, you tighten up the yard, you really dry out the subsurface. So that's why it's so important to have a system where you have 2 pipes. We make really big French drains with an excavator, and we typically run quad packs. You guys see that all the time. But here, for an easy DIY, you just trench a line. This is set up to where you still have the depth that we run professionally, but you don't have to remove as much dirt, and you're not going to have to add in as much stone, and the results are there. This system is ideal if you're in the tropical storm region. So yes, Louisiana, Florida, I know the Carolinas, you guys catch all those tropical storm systems, you guys get beat up pretty bad. Alabama, I mean, there's a handful of states that just catch a lot of tropical storms. When you're running 2 4-inch pipes, you can move all that water. You can evacuate that water quickly. The pipe we're using is as unique as the system. We're using knife cut or fine cut. We're not using a perforated pipe or a solid pipe. We're going to put a sock over knife cut. What knife cut is, it's a solid pipe that had little slits cut in it with a razor blade. If any sediment happens to wash through the knife cuts, I don't want it plugging the voids of the stone, so I want a sock on the knife cut pipe. Now that the lower level piping is complete, we want to start backfilling. You want to put pea stone on both sides of the pipe, and you want to fill it up till you get to the top of the pipe. You want to level it off before you put in the second level. Before you start plumbing that second pipe, make sure you've completely backfilled your entire system to the top of the first pipe. If running up to the landscape supply yard and just grabbing bagged pea stone is easier, because that really truly is DIY, you can use just bagged stone. We were actually shocked how little stone you actually need for a system like this. And it's quite amazing how good they work. Now remember, most guys that build them like this, they put the dirt back in. Can you believe that? They put a little bit of stone in, and then they cover it back up with dirt. I never understood that. It's no wonder their systems do not work. So for an easy DIY, you can use bag stone. There is a cost savings if you have the landscape supply yard deliver you bulk stone versus bag stone.
These hook up really easy. We love the female couplers for this. We use our solid covers so we don't fill the catch basin up with any stone. We got risers to get us to grade. Look at that. There's 6 risers right there to get us to grade. We're in all these potholes. Put a catch basin in every pothole where there's water that normally stands in puddles. Right now we're putting these slip fit, easy to install risers on to get to grade, and we're using a solid cover. Buy yourself a few of these solid covers just so when you're dumping stone in, you're not filling your catch basin up with stone. It can be kind of aggravating, frustrating. So that's why we have the solid covers for right now. It used to be the worst part of the job, was trying to get everything to piece together. Now that we have all the right components, everything snaps together super easy. No screws. I hate screws. They just get lost in the grass. Trust me, I spent a lifetime dealing with it. Remember, before you put that second pipe in, get your pea stone in. Get your pea stone all around that pipe. I love having a stone soil filter zone. Like when sediment tries to go through the fabric, it's really nice having that stone filter zone.
Here you see the crew handling a 250-foot coil. We had 1,000 feet of pipe going in on this job, so we had 4 250-foot contractor rolls. As a DIYer, I highly recommend you do not do this. The 100-foot rolls of piping are far easier to handle. You can see the guys right now are installing the sock on this knife cut pipe.
Guys have this full of stone to the top of the first pipe. Now they're connecting the second pipe. It's quick, easy, fast. It's a perforated system, so we don't have to tile tape. If you're really OCD and you want to tile tape the sock on the end, you can. Time is money and tile tape is money, and there's no need for it. We're trying to let the water in. Beautiful. Looks real nice. Hooks up really quick and easy to those female couplers. Everything goes together like this. This was what the contractors came up with. So when it comes to the installation process, it's quick, easy. Right here, we're just going to use a T. This is low volume. We don't have to worry about the fact that the water kind of slows down at a T. This is not that type of drain system. We put Y's where we have to put Y's, as you guys know and as you have seen. So the guys are patiently waiting for each other to cut the pipe because it connects that fast. Literally, all the parts were meant to go together. If we have a part that doesn't fit our kit, we'll get rid of it really quick. It won't last around here. You can hear how the detents, those barbs, grab a hold of that pipe. Just cut the sock and the pipe. Doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be fancy. And you're not getting that apart. When that goes together, that is not coming apart. So now that we have the second pipe in, we'll be able to add more stone. Quick, easy, no struggle. The easiest part of the job is putting it together now. Never used to be like that. You can see right here we got an end plug so the stone don't fill the pipe. You can tie the sock around the end or you can do that, doesn't matter. Everybody's got their own preference, but the system is going to work the same. Those little details right there, that's just installer's preference. The part that takes the longest is literally cutting the pipe, if you can believe that. That's how fast this snaps together. The guys, they're just waiting on each other so that the next fitting, we can cut the pipe, snap it in. Beautiful teamwork. Right now, there's 4 guys working this install line. These are cross tees for the intersections. We have 2 of them they're stacked. They're stacked on top of one another. This is our second pipe. So the guys, they start out shallow over here, and then this gets deeper as you get down to the main. If you want to know how deep the main is, we're 24 inches at the end of this main. We're going to pick up some natural slope here soon, which is good. So we're going to start getting shallower, believe it or not. That's what that looks like when you start getting natural slope. So we've now put 600 feet of sock on. It's gone quick, it's gone easy. And look how easy that hooked up. That's it, done, and it will not come apart. So this is what it looks like when you got a pipe stacked on top of a pipe. We're going to move a lot of water. We're going to dry out a lot of ground. Since our office farmhouse, it's now known as, and always will be called, the office farmhouse, is right here on our campus. We just went and got some bulk rock to finish this up. So we're cheating a little. We DIY'd it for you guys. We showed you what that looks like. So 6A natural stone is 1 inch on down to pea stone. So it is a smaller stone. We do like it. We do use it a lot. Again, we got this catch basin covered with a solid cover. No stone can get in it. Always have somebody holding your pipe down when you're filling it in. We made a really cool DIY video for you. But now it's time for us to, like, this job's not paying too well. So we need to knock it out and get out of here. There's another catch basin with a solid cover on it. No big deal. This turned out really nice. This drain is going to last forever. I like to get stone on both sides of the pipe, you know. Beautiful. Always have somebody holding that pipe down and try to get stone on both sides of the pipe. That's a beautiful install right there. Happy customer. See, I like that. I like when you get a little spit of stone on both sides of the pipe. I like that. If you're not using bag stone and you're using a machine, you really need to have somebody holding that pipe for you. Now we're just going to fold the fabric over so that we can put some topsoil on top of it. We're going to grow a really nice turf grass on this yard drain French drain combination.
You can either put sand or stone on the top of your fabric. If you have some stone left over, like we did, just go ahead and put it on top of your fabric. It's going to work better. I don't have sprinklers, so I'm going to end up putting a lot of topsoil back on top of this. We kept the stone a little low, and we knew that we were going to do this from the very beginning. If you have sprinklers, you don't need as much dirt on top of your system. It will draw in surface water a lot better if you have less dirt on top. But we have inlet basins in all the low points, so I'm not worried about it.
We have a 7-foot deep dry well. We got a foot of stone at the bottom. We got a 6-foot dry well that's perforated. A lot of holes are drilled in it. The water is going to come down to this dry well. It's going to run out the perforations as it fills, and it's just going to run up out of the big stone that's around it. We're not going to have any issues. It just pours right into this ditch. This is the ditch bottom. This is a swaled bottom right alongside the driveway. This water runs to a detention area. If we're having a torrential rain for an extended period of time and this dry well becomes overwhelmed, we did vent it. We have our 4-inch grate. That's our full throttle. That's why there's so much outlet. Most grates have more plastic than actually inlet or outlet. Look at that. And it's slightly domed, so leaves can't lay flat and create a suction issue. Now, yes, this dry well can actually take in water too. You know, you can see that we have it concave. We want all the water to run to this one point. We're not worried about overflow because we have this ditch bottom. Guys did a beautiful job. So the discharge line is also helping pick up water in all these low areas. We have an open French drain through the field. It meanders because we had so many low areas. This is just a natural contour of the ground. We have knife cut. We have 2 knife cut pipes in this trench here. This one's open French drain. It's open French drain for about 200 feet. Then we have 300 feet of covered French drain. And then we have the inlet basins on it too. So it's a dual system. This really came out nice. Nothing takes in water faster than an open French drain. Remember that. The guys are just cleaning up right now. They put the sod back over top of the system. They're grabbing up the turf mats. They'll take a leaf blower and they'll blow all the dirt that fell off the sod, just all the dirt that's fallen off these mats. They'll blow that around with a leaf blower, no problems. Once the construction's done and we don't have to worry about topsoil and stone falling in the basins, we're going to use our French Drain Man 6-inch full throttle. Look at that. You will not find another 6-inch grate with that much inlet and or outlet, depending on how you're using it. That is just ridiculous. Of course, a turf restrictor plate, we don't want the grass to grow over it. All right, the guys did a beautiful job cleaning up. It was a big job. We had 500 feet of trench. We have 7 inlet basins, and they're all in the potholes. Remember, that's key. You're not measuring just catch basins every so many feet. That's not what you want to do. That doesn't work. You have to put your catch basins wherever you have water collecting. Water always finds the low points. Put your catch basin in those low points and you're going to catch all the water. That's exactly what we did. The crew did a wonderful job. They found 7 known low spots that hold water. They went ahead and they put a turf restrictor with a 6-inch grate. We're using the full throttle 6-inch French Drain Man grates. Look at that, all that inlet. You can see right into that catch basin with the grate on. I love black. Black will heat up when the sun's out in the winter. It could be literally single digits outside. The sun's radiant energy will heat that black object up and it'll thaw that catch basin. So if you're in the north, it's a great idea to go with black pop-ups, black catch basin tops, black leaf filters. If you're thinking about DIYing a French drain with yard drains in it, you want to do catch basins with a French drain, this video is for you. You're going to want to watch this video and you're going to want to listen to all the details that make a really good French drain, yard drain combination. So the water coming off the high ground is going to come into the area that we have our yard drain. Just 2 6-inch round, no French drain. We want to catch the bulk water here. Now we do know that the majority of the water makes it up against the house. It's just how the grade is pitched. So we want to make sure that we have double the pipe. So instead of just a single pipe, we have the double catch basins. We're going to be moving 400 gallons per minute. We'll get 5 inches of water in here on really hard thunderstorms. What we're going to do is we're going to put in a yard drain system, but we do want to put in a French drain with this yard drain right here. We're going to show you an easy DIY on how we're going to do that. So behind this condo, we have this defined dip, low point, perfect for collecting water. A lot of people just fill this in with dirt. It's the biggest mistake you can make. We're going to do a French drain, yard drain combination right through here. We're going to have some inlet basins. We're going to have some French drain. All right, for this installation, we're going to use a special kind of pipe. But first, let's talk about the two pipes that are most common. Saw cut perforated pipe. What is that? That's when blades grind out material. They remove material. The blades actually, you can see all these slots where there's a lot of daylight. There were blades that removed material from this pipe's sidewall. Then we got our solid pipe. Now, when you combine the two, you end up with a solid pipe where there's just blades that just cut and don't grind. We're not talking about removing material. We want to keep it a solid pipe, but we also want the benefits of the perforated pipe where it'll take in water. We're going to use knife cut. Some manufacturers call this process fine cut. Depending on the manufacturer, this is known either as fine cut or knife cut. All right, this is a true DIY. The guys are hand digging this French drain. The portion of this yard drain that's also going to be a French drain, we wanted to show you just how easy this is to DIY. You can use a trencher because it only makes a 6-inch groove. Or you can use a narrow shovel. That way you're not having to remove as much dirt. And you're not having to buy as much stone. Guys dug this with a trench shovel. Narrow shovel. We use this to get under sidewalks. You could either rent a trencher if you have a really big system, or just buy one of these shovels that's specifically for trenching. All right, I'm going to tell you what we're doing for this job. I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so here is a basin, a yard drain basin, where you can put a 3 or 4 inch pipe on it. We're not going to use this, and I'm going to tell you why we're not going to use this. There's no sump. So when dirt falls in the catch basin, when the dirt falls inside the catch basin, as the water's being pulled down into the catch basin, what it's going to do, the dirt's going to come down here and it's going to start to fill the pipe full of dirt and it's going to clog the pipe. So we want to use a basin that has 1 gallon of capacity to fill up with dirt, trash, debris that can be cleaned, maintained, and then it doesn't fill the pipe. The other thing, so here I'm going to show you the difference. So you go ahead, you see one pipe. Let's look at this bottom pipe versus this pipe. You see the difference in sump? There's no sump on this one. There's no sump on this one. Look at that. Look at the amount of sump that's still available on the bigger basin. Now, this is my opinion based on what I could tell. When dirt and sediment falls into this catch basin, it plugs the pipe because it has nowhere else to go. A catch basin is supposed to be a sump that holds dirt. This is really a 3-inch opening because it's meant to where you can snap a 3-inch pipe inside and you could snap a 4-inch pipe outside, but this chokes it down, restricting it when you're using it as a 4-inch pipe. But look, this is only 5 inches wide. It fits in a trench made by a shovel. Super easy to install. This is an easy DIY. This basin was purpose built for yard drain, French drain combinations. It does a lot of things for us, this 4-way connect, but this is at the top of the list. Easy DIY yard drain, French drain. We're going to show you all the details. Now, a 6-inch grate can overwhelm 1 4-inch pipe. So this grate, you can see there's like a lot of thick material here. About as much, you see these louvers, they're as heavy and as wide as the openings. Well, if you made them any bigger, it wouldn't really help you if it was on this basin because you're only running 1 pipe. And a 6-inch opening can overwhelm a 4-inch pipe. So this grate here, you can see it's like looking through a window. That's ridiculous. It doesn't have all that material for the grates. Big difference, big difference. Because this is a twin pipe, we're going to be able to run this. We're going to see any pooling standing water because this basin is going to keep up. This here flows more water than any 6-inch round basin on the market. It has a bigger sump than any 6-inch round basin on the market. And because it's only 5 inches wide, it fits in a trench made by a trencher that you can go rent, This is the easiest DIY French drain yard drain. So right through here, we decided to make this a French drain yard drain combination. Going to show you guys just how easy this is. So you see how there's not a lot of dirt removed. We only need a trench that's 5 inches wide. Our pipe is 4.5 inches wide. That's outside diameter. And our basin is 5 inches wide, outside diameter. Easiest DIY, easiest French drain, yard drain combination. We're also going to do one better by using a 12 by 12 turf restrictor plate, so the grass will grow up on the plate and not grow up over the inlet. When the storm comes in, you want your system ready. You don't want grass growing over it and restricting the flow of water into your basin. I've seen the grass grow completely over these, and when the storms come through, basements would flood, people would call, we'd go looking for these and we couldn't find them. So that's why we made a turf restrictor plate. We know this. So the majority of the water ends up over here. 4 or 5 inches of water ends up against the back of this condominium. Over here we have this swaled area. We have this nice little indentation. We want to pick up as much water as we can right here. We're going to run a single inlet outlet basin. It's going to be the 6 inch. Over here we want the double. We just know the water that we're dealing with is much greater, so we want to have 2 4-inch pipes. To be able to flow twice the water, we're going to keep this water from becoming flood water. We're going to take in the water as fast as the water finds its way into this corner in this complex. We're going to draw it in, we're going to pipe it out. Then we're going to have the French drain, because this is going to be on knife cut pipe, and we're going to have stone in here. We're going to have that taking in the subsurface water after the rain event, so that the ground is firm over here and the ground isn't squishy. So we want the surface water out of here, evacuated quickly, so it's less damaging. There was water getting into the basement here. They had flooding problems. We're going to take care of those problems for this homeowner. What I always hated about 12 by 12 catch basins for yard drains, you're going to overwhelm a pipe with a 6-inch round. So it made no sense to me why you do a great opening that was 12 by 12. The problem that I found, and again, this is based on my experience as a contractor of 38 years, being in people's backyards, maintaining their yards, maintaining their systems, worms, when you have a grate that comes all the way to the edge, the worms just fall in. The worms that are crawling around in your turf grass, in your yard, when it rains a lot, the water brings them up, they just fall right in. With the turf restrictor plate, we don't have that problem. What happens when worms fall into your catch basin? It smells really rancid. Let me tell you this, you don't want to have to clean out your shop vac. It's going to smell like death. You don't want to have to, you can't even wash it off your hands. It's bad. I know this, again, based on my experience as a contractor of 38 years. All right, we're still going to put our non-woven geotextile filter fabric that's been double punched in the trench. We don't want all the dirt and fines to clog the stone. We want to preserve the stone for as long as we can. So that's why we always use a non-woven geotextile filter fabric that's been double punched. Now, if you don't want to use the fabric, you're an anti-fabric person, you're going to buy into that, great. Go ahead, just pour the stone in, it'll work for a while. You're just going to give it an expiration date, an early expiration date at the time of install. So we're going to have a single catch basin on this line. Cal's cutting small fabrics. He's just going to put a small fabric underneath the catch basin. He's going to put a little stone under the catch basin, set it on a small bed of stone. Now, if you don't do that and you just set it on clay, it just forms a seal. It's not going to work. It's not the same. When you put a bed of stone underneath a catch basin, the water that's left in that catch basin can now run through that little bed of stone and come in contact with more area, versus those little holes just being plugged right into a little spot of clay. That's not going to drain very well, guys, at all. So now a low percolating soil has a better chance of drying up that catch basin. Okay, so this product here has a chemical called styrene in it. And I'm not, not making a public announcement here of any kind. I mean, there it is. There's the warning. So with the use of styrene comes some risk of exposure. Here's what I know. Take that aside. That's not even where I'm going to go with this. I noticed that styrene chips, cracks, breaks, is more brittle, where the HDPE high density polyethylene that we use, same thing that food containers are made out of. This material is the exact same material that your Tupperware, your food containers are made out of. It's safe, it don't crack, it don't chip, it don't break. Right here we have an end cap for the catch basin, and it's also an end cap for the end of corrugated pipe. It's a twofer. We just have to keep one part opposed to two. Love it. You can see we put a cap on this end of the catch basin to start this out. Cal went ahead and put one riser on it. He'll adjust that, whether it needs another riser or not, he'll know. Once he sets this in place, what you want is you want this to be below the grass surface. Water always finds the lowest point, so you want to draw the water to your inline catch basin. Now that catch basin is taped on and it's in place, Patrick's going to be able to cut the pipe. This is a solid pipe. This ain't a French drain. This is just a yard drain. I get a lot of people in the comments talking about taking our solid pipe and putting stone around our solid pipe. You can, and that makes corrugated pipe extremely strong. It'll make it as strong as PVC Schedule 40, but it still has the flexibility of HDPE, which we really badly need here in the north with our freeze and thaw cycles. Not to mention that if we have any ground settling, we have too many places where PVC splits, cracks, chips, separates at all the, like, we don't need all the different fittings that PVC pipe needs. PVC pipe needs a ridiculous amount of fittings because it's rigid and you can't just bend it in a serpentine. This is a perfect example right here. We have a French drain that comes through here. Then we got to go around an air conditioner. We don't need all those fittings, all those glue joints to separate. HDPE, far superior. If you want it as strong as PVC Schedule 40, just take some small stones, go ahead and knife them underneath your backfill with small stone. Now it's as strong as PVC Schedule 40. Now we got this extra heavy duty pipe, so we don't bother backfilling with the stone. We have the strength that we need, and we field tested this pipe year after year after year. No splits, no cracks. This pipe performs amazing. Cale did a beautiful job. He's got that turf restrictor plate, that 12 by 12, set a little lower than the ground around it. Really nice. Water's going to find that. It's going to grab it all. Water always finds the low point. There was 2 risers on that, just so you know. There's 2 risers on this one as well. We have some natural slope this way. That's why there'd be 4 or 5 inches in here. We're trying to catch some of that water before it makes it there. So we got our first line of offense, and then we got our second line of offense where we're just going to grab up whatever makes it past this first line of yard drains. Notice how the men are taking the shovel and they're cutting up all the big dirt clods. They're packing it in really good with their boots. You want to do this when you're backfilling with the soil. When you're using the soil that you removed and you're backfilling it with that soil, you want to take the extra time to compact that. Otherwise, after your first rain, you're going to have saddling, and that's where you end up with this dip right where the line is at. It's no fun because you got to go back and you got to pull the grass back up and you got to add to it. And if you're a contractor, that's really expensive to run your men back out there to do something like that. This is all the stone that we brought in. It's not a very big pile. It's a very small pile, and it is the small stone. The guys are only putting down a couple inches of small stone. This is so any sediment that comes out of that fine cut, knife cut pipe can settle in the voids of the stone that's under the pipe. We don't want it to build up in the bottom of the pipe. If you're going to do a yard drain, French drain combination, you have to do it this way. Do not use perforated pipe that's been saw cut. It's just going to fill your trench full of sediment. All the sediment that gets washed into that yard drain, French drain, is just going to fill all the voids in the stone. When you use a knife cut or fine cut, it'll carry the debris all the way to the discharge end. The little bit of sediment, and it's going to be very small and it's going to be very fine, that does make its way through those fine cuts, those knife cuts that are not saw cut, perforated. They can settle in a little bed of stone under the pipe. Just have enough slope on your trench to where the little bed of stone that's under the pipe drains out. That's the key. Really nice install here. Just small stone on the bottom, just a couple inches. And again, that's because we're using fine cut. We're using the knife cut pipe. We're going to end up with a little sediment washing through those slices that are in that solid pipe. It's not going to build up in the bottom of our pipe. It's just going to end up in the voids of the stone. The guys did a great job. They put a little stone underneath the pipe. They put the pipe in, and now they're packing stone around the first pipe. Now they're putting on a second pipe. Beautiful installation. These guys always get it right. This is textbook. It doesn't get any better than what they just did. So if you're a homeowner DIYing your French drain, yard drain, you can buy the stone in bags. You don't have to have a dump truck load of stone. Not for a small French drain collection system. So the guys started out real shallow here, so you can only fit one pipe in. We started creating our slope, finally got to 2 pipes. Just cap off the ends. We have virgin pipe, it's not recycled, so we got caps that are also made out of virgin HDPE. We're using our 12 by 12 so the grass don't grow over that inlet. Now we got our top pipe in. The guys are packing stone around it. Really nice installation. So you want to knife the stone underneath the pipe. You don't want to raise the pipe, but you just want to get it to fill the void. This pipe is going to be as strong as PVC Schedule 80. So over here, we got 2 more pipes to put on this side. You can see we just have just enough stone to create a little void to collect sediment. So contractors, you now have 2 systems you can quote your clients. You got the A system, which could be a tri-pack or a quad pack, where you run the catch basins on a separate solid line. Now you can give them a B option. That's a little bit cheaper, a little more reasonable. You know, just with this new catch basin, now you can do a French drain, yard drain, combined the right way. You can guarantee your customers, give them a 15-year warranty. It's going to last that long. So once you get the discharge in your water, you can just go ahead and you put the pipes side by side for your discharge. Super simple, easy. 4-inch pipe is real easy to work with. Right now we can flow as much water as you can flow in a 6-inch pipe. Always cut the excess fabric off. You don't want a heavy overlap. We have inlet basins on this French drain, but if you want your French drain to take in water from the surface, which we do, then you don't want a heavy overlap. You won't be able to get the water to drain through the fabric. So the guys cut the excess off. Then they pull it tight. They have just minimal overlap, and then they pin it with the fabric staples. Really nice, easy system to put in. Guys did a nice job. We got a double barrel running out. Really nice job. We have a 100-foot discharge line. The reason why we have a 100-foot discharge line is we're going to end this at a pop-up emitter. People are in my comment sections all the time saying, can I run my yard drain French drain to a pop-up emitter? And the answer is absolutely. But you have to have enough fall. So let me explain. The top of your pop-up emitter has to be below the lowest point of your trench in your French drain yard drain to drain it out completely. So that's why our discharge line has to be 100 feet away. We finally have enough drop, enough fall to empty out that trench completely. Now the men already buried the discharge end. That way they could lay the turf mats over it and run the stone in. Most of the dirt goes back in. So for a DIYer, that's a benefit. Now you're gonna have a few wheelbarrows of dirt to get rid of on a discharge line, but you're not hauling away the dirt like you do for the collection portion of it. And that's the same with the yard drain that has no French drain. Our yard drain that's ran right here, that's just on some catch basins. This is the beginning of a line, it's low flow. Otherwise we would have used 2 pipes if we had more water, but we don't have enough water to demand the double pipes. And we didn't build a French drain, so that's another reason. For the French drain yard drain combination, we always got to use the 4-way connect catch basin. They're not going to have a water problem. We got 4 inlet basins that are 6 round. When you got a 6-inch diameter inlet and you build it with a turf restrictor plate so the grass can't grow over it, so you're getting the full 6-inch, and we have it on a dual pipe discharge. When you're running double pipes, you know, we know we can move 400 gallons of water per minute when this thing is being pushed to its limit. Well, we have stone left over. We didn't need all the stone, so we've been loading up the rest of the stone that we didn't use, put in the back of the dump truck, take back to the yard. A lot of fabric has been trimmed, cut back. Perfect example how they cut back the fabric so that they can just meet it in the middle. There's just a little overlap, no more than 2 inches. And then they put the fabric pins in. Always put sand on your fabric. That way, if you have fine sediment in your soil, it won't clog your non-woven geotextile filter fabric that's been double punched. For fully encapsulating a French drain system, you want to keep all the contaminants out, but you want to keep its infiltration rate up as high as you can. By putting sand on top, you're achieving that. The guys still got to take the leaf blower and just kind of fluff up the grass, but I'll show you what it looks like. They're pulling up the turf mats right now. We're getting out of here. It's Friday, so everybody's happy. It's time to start the weekend. So we got open French drain through here, open French drain through here, double pipe system, yard drain French drain combination in through here. French drain starts right there, single pipe going to double pipe, grabbing up all that bulk water at 4 or 5 inches of water. This open French drain is on knife cut. We just continued the run that we were on. It's going to work just fine. Over here we have an indentation. This is kind of the first line of defense. We're going to grab up a lot of the water. It's going to be interesting to see how much water that's coming from down here that ends up settling in here actually makes it over here. I'll try to get this during a trench of rain for you guys. I can chase blobs on the Doppler till I'm blue in the face, and they just float wherever they may float. It's really a difficult thing to do, and I usually like to go to the bigger batter systems or the sump pump systems, the stuff where, you know, you really get some water moving. But if I can get this thing in action, I will for you guys. We're so happy to have this option available to our homeowners now. If you can't afford a tri-pack or a quad pack, you can afford this double pipe system that's a yard drain French drain combination. This is the easiest yard drain system to snap together. We built everything. Quick connect, easy, no hassle. And I know what hassle is because I know everything that's on the market and I know all of its problems. We designed for efficiency. I'm happy that we now finally have something for the DIYers. Super easy to snap together. It's a reality to call this an easy DIY. All right, everybody. If you like the products that we're bringing to the market, give us a thumbs up. It supports what we're doing. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood, and until that next video, leave all your comments in the comment section. If you need me to make you a video, tell me, I'll make it.